Hey, it's Don, the auction professor. Today I just wanted to talk a little bit about motivation today. What drives people, why someone would want to resell in the first place. For me, my first experience on getting basically a profit from something was back in 1977 when I was a child. I was 7 years old, and I was swapping Star Wars trade cards from the very first movie with friends. I would trade them one of mine for two of theirs to get the ones that they needed. And I tried to pick ones that I could get to finish off multiple sets. End of the day, I would end up selling some of those sets or swapping for other items that I got, and then I would sell some of that other stuff. I was doing this at a very young age. It was the only way I could get complete sets without just buying boxes and boxes of stuff. Most other kids on the block weren't doing this. Everybody collected Star Wars cards when I was a child. So everybody I knew anyway. From there, let's fast forward 10 plus years. One of the first items I sold online was a 8mm Star Wars movie, home movie with sound, and we got an incredible amount of money considering what I paid for it. This was something I bought at Savers or some other thrift store years before. I'd buy and collect stuff like that. I still have some of my original collection of Star Wars collectibles back from the 70s and 80s. Since I was 7, I've swapped and bought and traded and sold items in the genre of my collectibles, comic books, trade cards, and things like that. I had them all. And that's what originally brought me into this as a hobby to start with, because again, it was a collectible hobby that I was doing. Now, I've done eBay since eBay was eBay. You know, we've sold a ton of items across the gambit on the site. We never thought it was a viable means to make a full-time income. Never in my wildest dreams did I think that that could be. I've worked for tons of people, regional, general manager, the whole works, through every gambit of an employment that you could have, for many big companies, including national chains, where I'd travel for them and run districts and things along that line. Went to college. We were trying to better ourselves to get a better job, thinking that's definitely the route for everybody. Earned an AA, an AS, a BA, and then my master's from the University of Toledo here in town. So I've been through the gambit. When we got out and graduated, there just wasn't anything available in the local area, nothing that paid anything reasonable, other than manager jobs for foods and things like that, which I don't ever care to do again. It's just a terrible, rough life. So we did what we could, made money how we could, and making money led us to online, of course. And from there, we've been doing it straight full-time as a online-only reseller for going on 10 years now full-time. So that's all we've done for a decade of our lives, was selling. Nothing else pretty much at this point. I wouldn't look back and change what I did. College was great for me. I learned a lot of stuff. I look at things differently. I'm better able to look outside the box. I took a lot of history and classes along that line that actually help in my business, especially with writing and doing contracts and wholesale deals and meeting with people and typing up emails and professional letters and contracts and all of that sort of thing I do myself. Usually have a lawyer or someone look at it, but you know, this wasn't a planned endeavor. I never planned to get into reselling, and it's a lot of work, in all honesty. I spend a lot of time at it. I don't necessarily have to spend as much time as I do, but I want to be very successful. I want to have money in the bank, so if something happens, I'm not going to be sitting here with nothing. You never know what's going to happen in life, but it's taken me 20 plus years to find my calling in this world. You know, I originally did this when I was a child, when it was something that I didn't have to do, and I enjoyed it way back then. So it's kind of weird that all these years I've worked for people and done all these awful jobs, long hours, time away from my family, and the original thing that was for me was sitting here all along. I do feel like I wasted a lot of my time. I've got motivation, though. I've got my wife and kids that I look at every day to say why I do this and why this is so important. This is how I eat. This is how we put a roof over our head. This is how we pay for medical and the whole works. You know, everybody has issues. Everybody has a reason they do one thing or another. For me, it was a necessity, and it's paid off. We've been able to increase our business and expand our business and just dig in and, you know, run to the finish line with this. It's just been a incredible ride being as a reseller here. It's changed our life. And again, everybody doesn't have the same experience. So my journey has had many stops and starts. I started originally back when I was 7. 10 years ago, we went full-time instead of just selling on the weekends and things when I worked for other folks. So that's my journey. My journey started way back when, 40 plus years ago. When's your journey going to start? Is that what you want out of this? You got to realize that this isn't a piece of cake. You're not just going to walk out on the street and boom, you're making a ton of money. You're not going to be able to just put in a couple hours and not make it work. It's just not that simple. There's no shortcut. There's no easy route to get to the end of the road here. Drive, a vision, where you're going with your life is key. For me, all I got to do is look at my kids, my wife, and I know where I'm going with everything. I know what I want out of this. I know what I need to have to be successful. I know what I need to have to enjoy my life and enjoy the time with my family. I know the aspects of what I want. And the only thing that I've ever found that gives me everything that I need for fulfillment in the whole works is reselling. You know, I like to be challenged. So there's a ton of challenge in this. There's a ton of things that happen, eBay glitches and payment issues and bad buyers and, scams and things along that line. So there's always something to challenge you. It's always something new, different items, different things that you can sell, different platforms. There's a lot of things that you can do with this. I used to think that you're confined in life to certain things, to working for somebody else 60 plus hours and never seeing much out of it, living paycheck to paycheck. A lot of people have that experience. More than half the population have that experience right this second. I don't anymore. And it's surprising. It's an honest shock looking back 15 years ago, 10 years ago, or even when I look back farther when I first married my wife and when we first started to have kids. So it's a tough thing to get used to, in all honesty. And that sounds weird, but it's nothing you would expect to be able to do what you want, when you want, how you want, and not have a boss. It's really fulfilling to know that you're able to do it all yourself. You're not relying on anybody but yourself. You're not worrying about any of the other issues that associate with working for somebody else either. You don't have to worry about being to work on time or traffic or rush hour. Your place of employment is wherever you run your business at, in whatever state you want to do it, whatever country you want to do it in, whatever the case may be, it's all yours now. That's just the key to this, Again, I didn't start off looking to do this. This isn't something I said, let me do reselling full time. It just happened. I can honestly and sincerely say this was never in my head to do full time. Even though I did very well as a child doing it all the way up into my teen years. When I first met my wife back in the very late 80s, early 90s, we still collected stuff. Both of us did, even back then. It's just turned into something else. And we've taken that and we've just expanded on whatever we could do from back in those days and made it work for us. It's the basis for my business. My collecting, my history with the stuff that I sell goes back to my earliest childhood memories. All of the stuff that I sell and deal in is majority of that, whether it be music, whether it be collectibles or toys or models or books or comic books or stamps, any of that kind of stuff. Boy Scout items, city items, historical items, postcards, all of that stuff ties back into family estates and things like that, and grandparents' collections and looking through their belongings and things along that line. So this is me. This is what I found is where I fit in this big world here. It's reselling. It's doing this. It's talking about what I do too, which feels comfortable to me. It feels like, this is my life and what I should have done from the beginning. Everybody has a different reason. Everybody has a different thought. Where is your thought going to take you? I used to think this kind of thing wouldn't be possible at all. I'd always be sitting at that day in and day out grind, working for somebody else. But, you never know where life's going to take you. There's just no way to predict what's going to happen. You can bet on certain things. You can do certain things like going to college. I just expected that would be the best thing at the time to get me to where I should be. But it didn't get me there, but it sure as heck helped. And it's changed my life for the better. But once I found my calling, this reselling aspect of it, everything's pretty much changed from that point on. I don't live paycheck to paycheck anymore at all. I don't worry about, where's the money going to come from? We've got medical bills or something. I just work more hours. I just do more things. I bring more people in, more employees and things along that line. Because again, we've expanded from just me working to the wife working, to both kids working, to many of their friends working for us as well. And we have 10 people on payroll right this moment. So, it started off from nowhere, from just a couple items up to tens of thousands of listings, multiple employees, multiple sites. Anything's possible. If I can make this work, anybody can make this work. I would have never, ever, ever in my life thought that. But I'm not saying go quit your day job and come out here and do this. It's not an option to do that these days. You got to have stability. You've got to think about insurance and all the other aspects that go along with working for yourself. But you can do it in your spare time, build up your secondary reselling business, and once you get enough coming in on a steady basis with backup and money on the side, there shouldn't be anything stopping you at that point. So don't rush into anything. Investigate it, look into it, start it. Make sure you like it before you do it, because this game isn't for everybody. Many people just give up because they don't like the aspects of working for yourself and being responsible for everything. Many people aren't able to time management themselves and figure this all out. You're going to make some mistakes. You're going to have money to back things up. There's just a lot to it. It's just not something that everybody should hop into. As long as you got the drive and the dedication to this, and you're willing to go for the long haul in this industry, you can make it. There's no brick wall in front of me anymore. I'm honestly surprised. It's not what I expected to be at in this spot in my life. I didn't know where I would be at. I just couldn't fathom, but this feels so right at what we have done for the last 10 years. I don't see it going anywhere. We just keep expanding, and if you've got the drive, the vision, the interest in this, and the ability to work a lot of long hours, you can do this. Anybody can do this, as I said. You just got to be into this. This has got to be something that's in your blood, something you really like to do. Don't just do it just to get away from something else, because this will turn into a chore for people. Many people get burned out doing this. So, I see that as an interest. I see that as things that happen. I hear sellers going back to working for somebody else, whether it be part-time or full-time. This just isn't for everybody. Just make sure you know what you're getting into as well. This can be a very satisfying career. I mean, it's got a lot to it. You're responsible for everything. That's a huge accomplishment for anybody to be able to bank up and be making, 6 digits a year, doing this. I mean, that's a lot of income for something like this. There's people who've worked for businesses for 10, 20 years that aren't making 6 digits at all at this point. That have had a great career working for somebody and still don't break that 6-digit mark. So, be grateful at whatever you do have. Don't just jump around from it. But this is something to look for if you are the right type of person that's into this. You have to have some foundation, in my personal opinion. You have to, whether the foundation is being able to look outside the box and invest the time and not give up. Not giving up is key. I mean, I hear people constantly doing this for 6 months or a year and they're done. They're quitting. It's too hard. It's too rough. Too many obstacles. But that shouldn't be an obstacle. You should be driven by those obstacles to not let them stop you. Just succeed at all costs, within reason, of course. Well, those are my thoughts. Hopefully that gave you some ideas and some thoughts. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button down below. You can also hit the bell icon to be notified if I post new content or go live. Subscribe and tell a friend.